everybody, it's Dsmoovee. Look, y'all know I've been waiting for this for a long time, man. I got Kuh-bob-bi in the building, and I'm actually in your building, in your space, and the backdrop is some of your beautiful art. Kuh-bob-bi, thank you so much for coming up, man. I thank you so much for doing this, for taking the interview, and letting me get to be in your space and just get to actually see how and where you create and see where some of this dope stuff goes. If you could let people know who don't know who you are, let them know what you do.
I am a painter, illustrator based here in St. Louis. Been here since '96. So my whole art career has been in St. Louis. I do murals in schools, outside, album covers, children's book illustrations, and in the back room I just paint. At home I paint.
Yeah.
Coffee shop I paint.
I love it. So let me ask you this, because I'm really interested. Most of these are gonna be personal questions. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, how did you get into painting? What was that first thing that actually said, like, this is something that I wanted to do, or this is something that I'm gifted in?
I'm going to community college, taking an art degree, getting my associates. Got the bug there a little bit, and then when I went to Grambling, I transferred to Grambling, and that's where I really started to get identity and come up with my name, and people started to comment on my work, and that's when I liked that feeling. So yeah. I was young, you're encouraging me and complimenting me. I'm going to chase that.
Going with it, yeah.
Okay, so
when you kept going with it, and you actually seen like your art style, when did you figure out like your art style? Because you have something that's very unique to anybody who sees your work.
A lot of people put focus on finding their art style. I definitely didn't find it then. Then I was just painting what I liked. So, where I am now is 30 years later, so this is a combination of everything I've ever looked at and been inspired by, coming to a space where now it feels like my own recipe, but I still don't even know what that is.
Still?
To me, I'm still evolving, still growing. Even in that evolution, people can still recognize my work. There's things that I can't see that they see. They can see the commonalities more than I can.
Absolutely.
Because to me, I'm just working.
And you do the work all over St. Louis. I think I first noticed one of yours in Hyde Park, off of a building, and I'm like, yo, I gotta find this dude. And to be able to see like all these things behind me and everything around here, it was like you were meant to be an artist. Like, have you ever had that feeling, like, or was that like ever an ethereal feeling, like with you, like, I'm meant to do this?
I sometimes go back and forth on that. I put in the work to be where I am, that's for sure. But what if I put in the work to be a barber? I became dope. People right now, 30 years later, they be like, man, you were meant to do this. But I put my time into this. This is what I want to do. I'm focused, done. And as far as being passionate about it and loving color and all that, I think it just comes with working with it and being who I am. But, I think I could have chosen other things because I have other interests. I love music. I could have been a dope DJ, but this is what I chose. And some things I feel like aren't chosen, but like choosing, we'll skip around, but like choosing 365 Days with Dad wasn't my first choice. I just wanted to paint something every day. But because I did that series, before that, people didn't really, interviews like this or, what do you do for the community? Like, I wasn't having those conversations until I did that. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that going in. But since I did that, it made me a social,
person
artist.
The fact that you've gone out and done so many things and touched so many places in St. Louis, what do you feel like is probably your most memorable thing that you did in St. Louis so far?
365 Days of Dad, because the majority of the people who got the works were from St. Louis. So that's probably my most memorable project. Absolutely. Before that, there used to be, when downtown was still what it was, there was a big construction wall around 9th and Locust, where the Schnucks is now. And a bunch of us were hired through Portfolio Gallery to put work up down there. And probably about 10, 15, 20 years, people would come up to me and say, I remember seeing the saxophone player and all that. So for a long time, that was that. And then once I did this project, that's what people will bring up the most.
Absolutely. you like really shock eyes when they lay their eyes on your art, and I wouldn't call it. What would you say Afrocentric? Would you say that's the thing we're going?
I ain't heard that word in a long time.
Really? So I feel very accomplished. I feel very proud. I feel very, very myself when I look at your art.
Well, that's what I hope. I want people to see themselves. Yeah, definitely.
So how did that feeling like of raising that awareness with people? How did that kind of come about in your art?
I think that part of that came from the anger of realizing that a lot of black artists during the Harlem Renaissance died penniless, and yeah, it's really still kind of new for black artists to be out here to make a living off images of us, and to still in museums, even though it's not the focus, but black youth don't really trip off going to museums because they don't see them.
Yeah.
So that's part of why an emphasis on painting all black subjects, for the majority. I mean, 99.999%. Every now and then there'll be something other, but yeah, we just need to see us because we need to know we have that kind of value that people want to document our life.
Absolutely.
And we get paid for it.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Spike Lee said, film is kind of the segue in controlling our narrative, and I feel like film and art kind of go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And you're doing that when you're compared to, and I'm pretty sure you've been around greats like that. When you see greats like that, and you see the momentum, and you see what you're doing, how do you kind of continue to keep elevating yourself?
I just love my craft. Like I love doing it, even if it wasn't a paid gig. Like I love painting. Period. And I have my own standards, so I don't half-ass on myself.
Absolutely.
Whether you're gonna buy it or not is for me. So it has to look the way I need it to look. And the more I do that, the better you get.
Do you actually do self-portraits and things like that, or?
Used to.
Okay.
Yeah, I no longer have any interest.
I figured that.
I still get asked.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Seeing some of the art, like I said, I'm keep referencing the art because this is beautiful.
Right.
But seeing some of the art, I'm pretty sure you would have those people who would actually want to come to you and actually say, I would like to get a piece by you that looks like me or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, dollar amount matters if somebody's willing to pay. But a lot of times, portraits are valued as something different. And, I don't want to say it's cheaper because there are artists who charge a lot for paintings. Like my man who did Bayoc, he got paid, but also having done 365 days with Dad, so many people got those paintings and I sold all of them at $200. They think they can come 10 years later and hey, you got a piece? And, I want to get another one. Yeah, I ain't $200 no more. So
Thanks.
That was a social project. Yeah. Right? So that was the price for a reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You talked about albums, and of course, you have some album artwork that you've done here. Talk to me about that. How did you kind of get into that music realm?
So, one of my first jobs was at Six Flags, and
You started from Six Flags, really?
Well, that was one of my first art jobs. Yeah. So I was a caricature artist there.
Yeah.
But I only did one season. I knew I didn't want to go back. And the guys who were there introduced me to an artist named Sebastian Kruger out of Germany. And so I went and bought his book and I studied it because he did amazing caricatures on canvas. And also Entertainment Weekly was huge then and all these other magazines. So you see these caricatures every week. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on a portfolio so that I can do what I'm doing out here at home and better with my own style. So I did that. And it just so happened while I was at Grambling, I did, I don't know, I can't remember if it was weekly or bi-weekly, but I did a cartoon for the Gramblinite, the paper for the campus. And while I'm at Six Flags doing my portfolio, I looked through the magazines, and it just so happened the editor from Gramblinite was now the editor of Rap Pages in New York. And so I sent him a portfolio. I mean, I sent it to a few other people, but he's the only one who replied. Yeah. He replied with, you can do the RPM section every month. And so I started doing that. And then Chris Lighty from Violator Management, managing Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott and all them, he gave me a call and asked me if I'd do the album cover for Violator. And so I did that. And then sometime later, Phil Mob's management saw the cover, and they were like, "You want to fly you out to their, photo shoot in Atlanta, and so that you can take information, take your own photos and do. And then I did the Rooted to the Tutor album for them. And then, but I feel like for a long time in the beginning I had what we call hit records because those things are spaced out.
Yeah.
But in between there, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Rap Pages was kind of done at that point, so I'm really just whatever all over the place. So I had those two, and so I had. Yeah, with those, I got an album cover in Australia, a funk band that I don't know if they saw Rainbow Children with Prince or they saw the Violet, I can't remember, but so I had a few albums.
The fact that you've done so much all over the world, you're internationally known. What does that mean for you when you can add that to your title?
I never say it, other people say it.
Man.
Yeah, I don't say I'm internationally known, I don't.
I gotta say it literally because it's one of the things like you see somebody and were you born and raised in St. Louis?
Raised, yeah, but I was born in New Jersey.
When you were
but I'm a military child, so, most of my career was in O'Fallon.
Yeah.
Most of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you were able to do what you do from one spot and make it international, I think that's something to celebrate. I always let people know like that's dope, and to be able to do that, that's amazing, man.
I mean, yeah, doing the Prince album. I mean, one thing, the contract, we made sure we put my website in.
Get to that chick.
Yeah, we put my website. Oh well, you're doing the international thing.
Let them know. We gotta let them know.
That's an international piece. I had my website in there, so that let people know who did the cover. So those kind of things made me international. Yeah.
Talk to me about the Prince thing and what was that feeling for you?
Of course, it felt great. Love for One Another tour in the 90s. They came through, I don't know if it's Granite City, Edwardsville. But there was a place on Union called Dignity House, and they donated food to the, because that's what he did on his tour. He would donate something to whatever city he was in. And they also had an art gallery, so they asked me and another artist to hang our work. And, we didn't think anything of it because Prince didn't show up as they said he might. And, that's artists always want to hope to have that one moment. But yeah, they wound up videotaping the show and got some call sometime later that, Prince saw work that he wanted to know was available, and he bought 3 pieces. And then a year later, because I thought it was one and done, but a year later, as people called again and said, you want to know if you had any more available work, sent more photos. I took everything on the back porch and shot everything. And he picked 5 more, and one of those became Rainbow Children album cover. I didn't do work for Prince. He bought work and then used it.
Okay.
It's total difference.
But you still, I think you formerly known as, so you dope.
No, I'm just saying when people say you did work for, that's a whole nother, doing something for somebody, because then you're getting, you're doing that. I can't imagine having to do something for Prince. That'd probably be a nightmare, so, it's stressful.
I was just gonna ask you, you handle things because, you believe in your own art, you believe in your own style. Mm-hmm. When you're asked to do jobs and when you get asked to do certain things that are outside of your range, how do you handle that?
After saying yes, talked to Amber and we talked through what it could be in visual terms and based on how I work. Because when I get something like that, I do second guess myself, but I forget that they see what they see. Because I'm still
a human being.
In my brain, I'm just somebody who loves to paint, but that don't mean I always got complete confidence. So, yeah.
I love the fact
for
that
me. Yeah.
I love the fact that you of course you're a human being and you humanize yourself. A lot of people, they wouldn't understand that side of you that sometimes Kuh-bob-bi second guesses himself. Mm-hmm. To artists who are coming up, what advice would you give them who see your work and they're enamored by it, they idolize you maybe?
I mean, you're just looking at hours and hours and hours, like just constantly. There's stuff that I paint, and even I'm like, ugh, and I'll just cover it up and start over. Like everything doesn't always work, and that's fine. That doesn't mean you didn't get anything from it. So we gotta the same thing. Tell kids like everything's not a waste. Just because the painting doesn't work out as a total, doesn't mean I didn't get anything from that. And sometimes if I don't like where a painting's going, I'll take a picture of it, or I'll take the part I do like to start a new painting, and then that one just cover it up. And just let it go, because it's almost, a lot of times it's emotional. As long as it's there in my face, then I'm constantly thinking about it. But as soon as I cover it up, I mean, a week or two later, I forget it was even there. Like all that emotion that came with it is gone, you know.
Yeah.
That's just life, you know.
It's got to be like some artwork that you probably covered up that we probably missed out on, but I know you're not too worried about that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's some. I've covered stuff that people are like, I can't believe you covered that. Like, yeah, you'll never know.
So Kuh-bob-bi, I heard you do these Sunday giveaways. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we wanted to figure out a way to celebrate 10-year anniversary, 365 Days with Dad, and in fact, there was a lot of times that for a lot of those families, that was the first time they ever had a painting. And so we talked about it, and we just decided that every Sunday we would put a painting up around the city, and then I would go online and do a reel on Instagram sharing the clue of where it is. And so we did it all last year, and it's something I just looked forward to doing and love doing. And so we've continued on into this year. And then we're gonna transition that into another bigger project that we'll share later. But yeah, it's something that we look forward to doing every week. And it's become very competitive. You know, some people have been hoarding, but we've been trying to encourage people to not do that and keep a community base and let other people enjoy the excitement of getting a painting. So yeah, it's something we do every Sunday between 9 and 1 or 2. Yeah.
I think it's important to have artwork in the household, and having a piece of your artwork in the household is probably one of my things too. So I'm gonna definitely be getting something from you. Definitely. Real
You said it. Yeah. I've been
I
30 years in the game, so I can tell you how many people have told me.
I'm coming with it. I'm definitely coming with it. Thank you so much for joining us, Kuh-bob-bi. I appreciate you, man. If you could let people know how they can follow you, how they can tap in with you, social medias, your websites, anything like that.
Well, I'm most active on Instagram, and it's just my name, Kuh-bob-bi, Cbabi. I have a Facebook, I have Twitter and all that, but Instagram the most. Our online store is, art storefronts. They can get that link through Instagram. And then also what we started at the beginning of this year, Art in Every Hand, is an eBay store where I post originals and people can bid on them. And some start as low as $100, $200, and wherever people bid it up to, that's where it sells for. So those are the ways people can reach me.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I'm looking forward to seeing your next work and looking forward to meeting you again on bigger, better fit. Make sure you follow me at Dsmoovee on Instagram. Facebook is Voice of the Streets. And make sure you are on the YouTube, On the Streets 314. Shout out to the production team, Terrence, Daisha, Key, and shout out to our sponsors, the True Trifecta. It's Dsmoovee. Peace.